Oh, hello, Dr. Murray. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I hope you're well also.
Yes, I am well, and I'm very interested in learning more about your campaign, the See for a Lifetime, See a Retina Specialist, and your education initiative. So, what are the risk factors and leading causes of retinal disease?
So one of the things, Patty, that's important is to recognize that these are treatably preventable causes of blindness. And the two biggest ones affect almost 20 million people in the United States. That is diabetic retinopathy and age-related macular degeneration. And early detection of those diseases almost always preserves good vision for our patients. So we want patients to be aware of the signs and symptoms. And the symptoms that we talk about for patients are sudden floaters in the eye that kind of move around as you change your field of vision. Those floaters can often be associated with flashing lights, and they could mean a tear in the retina that could become a retinal detachment. Blurring of the central vision, where lines can be irregular or faces can be difficult to recognize, that is an important sign for both types of diseases, both diabetic retinopathy and macular degeneration. It's important that people know to cover one eye and check the vision, and then cover the second eye and check the first eye, because your brain's really smart, Patty, and it will try to ignore the blurring or distortion of vision in an eye, and we want to detect that early. So those are the things that we're most interested in patients being aware of.
How often do you suggest a regular eye exam for early detection?
So I think eye exams are important, and I think they're preventative, and that's really what we would like to do, is detect disease before it's affected our patients. And the most important part of that preventative eye exam is that the pupil be dilated and that the eye be examined specifically for the retina. In a retina specialist office, we have really advanced technology to look at the retina, and that's critical. We can see the retina now at a microscopic level, and that was impossible almost even within the last decade. So there's been huge advances in the ability to examine our patients' eyes, and then with that has come really major advances in treating our patients' eyes. So it's really critical to get our patients in early so we can treat them after we've diagnosed them effectively and preserve their vision, and excellent vision.
You know, I can imagine that during the pandemic, a lot of people weren't going to get their eyes examined. Have you found that? I mean, are things changing around now that the pandemic might be waning in certain locations?
So early in the pandemic, of course, many of our patients, especially our diabetic and elderly patients with macular degeneration, were literally terrified to leave their houses. They didn't want to be in an office clinical space or in a hospital. And we know that, unfortunately, many of those patients actually lost vision during the pandemic because of not being able to have the care that they needed. And some of those patients lost their vision permanently. We were all getting excited, of course, that the pandemic was waning until Delta hit. So one of the things that we've reiterated to our patients, and hopefully nationally, is that retina specialists are frontline caregivers. You have to see your retina specialist to prevent your blindness. So it's critical to weigh the risk and the benefit. And for patients with blinding retinal disease, it's clearly appropriate for them to be seen. And we've done major things in our offices to be able to really provide good safety practices. We've done really well. We did not close at all through the pandemic because of the concern of being able to treat our patients so that they would not lose their vision.
Well, this sounds so important, and it's to get the word out to protect people's eyesight, and it's such a simple thing to do. You just hope that people will, be smart about it. Where can we go for more information?
So I think information is really powerful. So seeforalifetime.org is the website that allows access to that information. So seeforalifetime.org, it's got information in both English and in Spanish, and it's really targeted for our patients and their families and their patients' caregivers. It's very helpful, and it has an access point to allow you to find a retina specialist that is close to you within our society.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Murray. Very important information.
Thank you, Patty. Thanks for having me.